All right, now you can compliment me.
Oh my God. Look at you.
Thank
You
you.
got a part in your hair, or you got the acoustic tiles, you got the articulating microphone. I feel like I'm with Joe Rogan, only better looking.
Oh, you, Paul, your stunning looks never cease to take my breath away. It's
Well, I don't know about that, but I appreciate your good taste.
I am sure about that. You're a sexy man. For everybody listening, all the new listeners, this is my buddy Paul Whitcomb, first episode 96, and the rest is history. And we haven't spoken in a while, entirely all on my behalf, my fault. But yeah, man, I feel like there's enough going on with UFOs right now and with potential Chinese aggression that there's really no one person I talk about UFOs and China aggression with more than you.
That's right.
I figured why the fuck not? It's right now. How have you been, man? I can't. How have you been?
I've been doing just great. We've got this TV show that's kind of taking off, and been going into the city to film that, and just it's just starting to get a footing and trying to come up with the material, and it's a lot. It's a lot, but it's a lot of fun too.
That's insane. Yeah. For everybody listening, Paul's a Chicago outfit history buff. He's got a website, Kings Killers, right? Kings Killers and Clowns
Yeah.
on Facebook, which is just always kind of catches me off guard because I get on and I'm just kind of mindlessly scrolling through pictures of like cousins and cousins' kids, and then it's like a black and white photo of a dude with a bullet between his eyes, and it's like it's like such and such a mob boss found in a freezer, and it's like, oh Jesus. But yeah, man, tell me about your TV show, because you started talking with some friends and it's kind of spiraled off wildly and successfully, right?
Well, it has. It started. You started it all.
Oh,
I
stop
mean,
it.
no, it's true.
Stop it.
You spotted a post I had put on Reddit about my involvement with John Wayne Gacy's execution.
Mm-hmm.
Then you and I started to talk. And from there, some other people reached out. We started doing the Facebook page about the Chicago Mafia. And then we started working with a TV producer who reached out to us and said, hey, you guys are doing this. It could be fun. So we started producing a TV series called Inside the Chicago Outfit. And right now it's on what's called VPod TV, which is a local Chicago broadcast station. And it's also on Roku,
Mm-hmm.
and it's coming on Hulu, Apple TV, and YouTube.
Big dick energy, Paul Whitcomb.
Big, huge,
Swinging,
huge,
swinging past, huge, the biggest, swinging past the knees.
the
It's
biggest big.
the biggest. I'm not sure which topic we should go into, because right now, and I've said it, I always give credit where credit's due. The Biden administration's specific deterrence initiative, which is ringing a chain of islands 3 deep in the Pacific with ground-based nuclear tipped missiles that mean we're throwing out I think it's Intermediate Missile
Yeah,
Treaty, INMT, where you don't have intermediate. You only have ICBMs and SLBMs. These little ones were kind of the ones that I could be completely incorrect, that they were going to put on Cuba, that we put in Turkey.
the
And
Pershing.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And big dick energy. And we're ringing them on islands, 3 island chains deep in the Pacific against China. And it's the Pentagon's like $27 billion initiative to contain China, which, I mean, you know me, there's not much I love more than containing China,
Painting China. Yes,
other than UFOs. And what the fuck else is going on right now? Tic Tac, that's old news.
that is
Now,
old news.
now we have UAPs of pyramid shaped UAPs apparently not harassing, but maybe coming in close to some U.S. destroy. They're always fucking with the Navy.
Yeah, it seems like they are. I don't know if they're the Iranians or what they are, but they sure do love those destroyers.
They do. And apparently Lou Elizondo, who, he always says he was the head of the ATIP program, I believe, AATIP. And people have kind of been attacking his credibility lately. So recently, within the last week, Senator Harry Reid, who started ATIP and AACP. They're all different names for just studying UFOs.
Yep.
Senator Harry Reid put out an actual like public, letterhead, everything, signed it, basically saying Lou Elizondo is of the highest credibility and he has not said anything that's false. And Lou Elizondo always prefaces his statements with, "I'm not a spokesperson for the Pentagon," but then goes on to say everything about the Pentagon. And it keeps coming in again and again true that originally he said there was an ATIP program and the Pentagon said it didn't exist. And then they came out and said it did exist. Now he's saying about, I know I'm rambling, but he said that there was another article. I think I sent it to you, and it was kind of not really, didn't really make the circles. Pentagon acknowledges it is testing recovered wreckage. Lou Elizondo came out and said that there is another video of the pyramid UAPs that's not way off in the distance and recorded on a potato. He said 55 feet from the fighter pilot's cockpit, which can only mean they've got it in like 4K HDR.
Right.
So I don't know, I might actually pass out from the blood flow to my erection, because are we going to contain China, or are we going to talk UAPs, or are we going to use UAPs to contain China?
Now you're on to something.
Oh shit.
Good
thing I had pants on this episode.
I came across something about China that I think is answers the question of what we're going to do if China moves on Taiwan. And I did not realize this. I'm sure you do, because you're much more up on this than I am. But what is it that's in a worldwide shortage that is absolutely essential to dominating the digital future? Advanced
metals,
semiconductors.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And where are advanced semiconductors made? You've got essentially, 3 companies that make them: Intel, Samsung, and TCP, in Taiwan. So the world's most advanced semiconductor factory just happens to be sitting in Taiwan. Now, do you think for 1 second that we would allow the People's Republic of China to get their hands on that, being that's the sole area where we maintain an undisputed lead, is an advanced semiconductor manufacturing?
No, I do not. I don't see us allowing that.
I don't either. So if they decide to invade, which they seem to be really interested in lately, what are we going to do? Are we going to take out that factory, or?
Do we hit the factory? Do we hit the factory and blame it on the Chinese? Now you get it. I haven't watched the movie yet, JFK. I know I need to, but I've been watching a clip from it where it's like, are you saying Oswald killed our commander in chief? And he's like, I'll do you one better. He didn't even pull the trigger. And he's like, we're through the looking glass. We got to start thinking black is white and white is black.
Yes.
And that's what I keep thinking of. It's like, I'm trying to just think less like you and me, we're rah rah America. And it's like, that's dated. The whole soldiers storming Okinawa, that's dated. Don't get me wrong, I love it. It's dated.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what Stuxnet is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Just that fucking
they just redid it, didn't they?
Well, I don't know, but it was for everybody listening. It was a digital virus that we put in via thumb drive, picked up by an Iranian nuclear facility worker in, I think, 2011. It went in. This thing was advanced as fuck. It spun the centrifuges far faster and destroyed all of the container, or I guess you had the little containers with the enriching uranium. At the same time, feeding false feedback signals to the operators of the machine, saying, "Yeah, everything's hunky dory." It'd be like if it took over your car and your car read 40 miles an hour, but you're clearly doing 200. Just beautiful. Yeah. Destroy the Iranian facility. I love it.
And they just did it again, buddy. They just did it again. They shut off all the power at that facility and ruined
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
I know. So it's like Stuxnet version 2. Stuxnet redo.
Stuxnet Summer 2021. Coming to an Iranian. Coming to a contraband nuclear facility near you. Allahu Akbar! Stuxnet redo. It's now on Disney Plus. But I was reading about something else that we never actually used, and it was under the Obama administration we had it developed. It was something called Nitro Zeus, And Nitro Zeus, aside from being the name of a Transformer, because I'm an adult and I cite Transformers movies, it was apparently something that was another level of Stuxnet. And what it would have done is, I think we actually had released it into Iran and never had to use it, and it might still be there. But it said every SAM site, every radar system, every power line, we could have, if they tried to kind of go one step, after Stuxnet happened and they were like, "Oh fuck this is war," we could have just, and there no EMP blast,
Right.
just everything's shut down.
Right. Right.
Which has me thinking that there are just these other levels of we're through the looking glass now. What is going? What I don't think it's going to be. If you and I, despite us being wildly intelligent and just unbelievably handsome,
Right.
that's why Paul and I have to do these from undisclosed locations.
Our share. We
It's
have our share,
we
considering how gifted we've been.
I thank you. It's about time I had someone else that had the same level of egotistical narcissism as me. But it's
Yet at the same time, we're extraordinarily humble.
the most humble people you ever fucking meet. We are the most humble people. And I'm not trying to toot our own horns, but so unbelievably humble that
Much of humble.
it's so humble that we actually
Another
have to
level.
another level through the looking glass humble. It's black is white and white is black. Everybody listening to this just tuned out. Like, who are these douchebags? It's but I don't think it's going to be as, despite us being so intelligent, I don't think it's going to be whatever you and I propose. Is China going to move on Taiwan with some? In my mind, I have it as like these D-Day era troop transports coming in, and America comes in with air support, and it's like, I don't think that's. I think that's how we fight in Iraq because we can do whatever we want.
Right.
I don't think that's how we're fighting China. I think if something happens, you're not even gonna know it happened. You're not even gonna know it was us. Like, something might have already happened and we don't know. Does that make
Right.
sense?
It makes a lot of sense. And of course they have the Taiwan Strait to get across. And I just don't think that the American Seventh Fleet nuclear submarines are going to allow that to happen.
No, it's I don't fuck. Excuse me. Um yeah, because there's the precedent, right? It's the domino theory, which led to Vietnam or Korea, Vietnam. But then it's also, are we coming to blows, right? Is this not Vietnam and Korea? Do we go back even further? Is it Berlin? Is it them cutting off Berlin and they're going to utilize starvation and we do the air bridge? And it was the first confrontation that we sidestepped in the Cold War, right?
It's much more like Berlin because it's not a proxy war like Vietnam
Mhm.
and Korea.
Mhm.
It's we came in to clean up the French and in Korea and
Mhm.
in Vietnam we were fighting a proxy war, but this would be direct, man.
This would be direct. Yeah. Two titans. Just it's it I don't know. Are we going to see an Indo-American alliance on the level that we haven't seen since like World War II, America, UK?
It's interesting you say that because there's a novel called 2134 where China launches World War III by attacking Taiwan. They lob some nukes, we lob some nukes. And India just sits back, lets us destroy each other, and then emerges as the dominant world power. And it's a real interesting novel if you haven't read it.
I think my buddy Josh Newman actually sent it to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's written by a brigadier general.
Yeah. He sent it. I haven't read it yet, but yeah, no, it's, well, you always got to think. And then would that mean that was India that actually set it off, knowing that we'd pit against each other? But I think it's so, again, it's like whatever you and I are discussing, they have war gamed in the bowels of the Pentagon since black and
Yes.
white TV. So I almost think that there's no escape clause where they don't let another. It wasn't that the sum of all fears. Germany pits us and the Soviet Union against each other so that
Yeah.
it can emerge. It's like, it's not a new idea, right? So I think it's probably, in all of my military expertise, it's probably something like there is no outlet for other countries. It's everyone's tied in, so it's no one even dares to do something like that because there is no we destroy each other.
Right.
Everyone's dead. Everybody.
Well, I can't imagine how that India wouldn't be adversely impacted by a war.
Exactly.
They already come to blows every now and then. That
Mhm.
a last time we talked, they just had their
They,
first shooting war in a long time, right?
yeah, a little border skirmish, and
Yeah.
it kind of fizzled out. Thank God it fizzled out, because
Oh yeah.
but
Whew.
it's, you know, I don't know. It's because if they take Taiwan and we don't do anything,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's us showing our stomachs. That's us showing our throats.
Yeah, kind of like when we didn't do anything when Russia took Crimea.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
How do you
Uh-huh.
say that?
It's a
Yeah.
it's now when you get up into those upper levels of just like Joint Chiefs of Staff, I mean, do they, they're war gaming. They're not putting the little pieces on the maps anymore. This is just all supercomputers, every possible outcome.
Yes.
100,000 different what's going on. Is something like Crimea, is that something where like they war gamed it in a supercomputer with like 85% certainty, said if you confront, it will lead to global thermonuclear war. If you don't, there's a 99% chance it won't. And is it something where it's like the overall national security is protect America?
Yeah.
And allowing them to take Crimea, although making us look like bitches, not me and Paul, but everybody else in America.
Everyone else.
Everyone else, no, Putin would acknowledge us. He'd say, America, you soft pussies, bullet going down again. We'd say, what up, Putin? But then the ultimate thing is it's you'd rather look weak and sacrifice Crimea if ultimately it meant that the nation survived, which is how things work now. It's not World War I. It can escalate, and it takes, I think, 4 or 5 minutes for an SLBM to go from the Atlantic to Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
So 300 seconds. Within 300 seconds, thermonuclear war can be on the table.
You betcha.
Like, we've been talking for 16 minutes. We could be in a third wave of thermonuclear war since we started recording.
It's absolutely right. And the thing is that semiconductor plant cannot fall into the Chinese hands. You know what they do, Tommy? They reverse engineer. That's the Chinese. That's their whole, the basis of their industrial base is, hey, we're going to buy stuff from you and then we're going to reverse engineer it.
Mm-hmm. Or we're going to have our people infiltrate your institutions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I had a really shitty, corny joke about, the long march in the institutions. I had a guest, Claire Lopez from the CIA, teach me about. Apparently, it's something from like the Communist Manifesto. It's like to infiltrate the West. It's called the Long March, where you go in and you start getting teaching positions in the 70s, and it takes 50 years for it to finally start paying off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was thinking that, Nike being all woke, but also employing slave labor to sew their stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I love it.
They should make new running shoes that are capable of holding up during a long march.
Air long march.
Air long march. Air Mao. Yeah. It's cheesy, but I want it to be on record that it's my joke. And
I like it. I really like it.
Thank you. Yeah. Right. It's like Colin Kaepernick, and it just says like ready for a long march.
Yeah.
It's just,
Nike would do that. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. They withheld those shoes with the American flag on them last summer.
Yeah.
They'd probably go for this. Okay.
I think I might almost support that boldness if they just came out and they were like, hey, you need shoes for a long march. Leather sandals don't work.
That's right. Birkenstocks aren't going to cut it.
Birkenstocks aren't going to do it. If you need a long march through the institutions to overthrow, I don't know if I'd buy them, but I would respect it. I would respect that bold marketing campaign.
Kind of like that rapper that made the Satan shoes. That was very bold.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Drop of human blood in every soul.
Man, if that's not and I know this is just me and Paul, two white guys pearl clutching. How dare we? And it's like no one bats an eye at the drone strikes every day and weddings. It's definitely selective outrage. Like we have to be aware of our own.
Oh, for sure.
That being said, yeah, man, if that's not like an Overton window towards just like the degradation of society. There's human blood in every shoe, and it's like that. It's like the drag queens dressed as like satanic angels reading to kids in libraries, and it's like this is Christ weeps.
Well, to Nike's credit, they sued and stopped that whole debacle. So at least they have some standards. Yes, they did. They went right to court
Wait,
and stopped.
were these Nike shoes?
They were Nike shoes, but they were customized by Lil Nas X, or however you
Yeah,
say
yeah,
that,
yeah, 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 yeah.
um, by his company without
Okay,
Nike's permission.
okay.
So Nike right away jumped on that.
Now, was Nike jumping on that because of moral standards, or are they mad that they weren't cut into the loop?
Yeah, I'm sure it was the
A little
latter.
both. Maybe
Uh,
that is where they draw the line.
well, right. It's amazing when you consider that that guy started making Nikes by pouring rubber on a waffle iron back in Portland, Oregon,
Hey man,
and look at him now.
hey man, it's right that well everything starts out a little innocent. I mean, hell, Boeing makes nuclear missiles.
Right, right.
Goes from like I ain't going if it ain't Boeing.
Right.
Now it's like hypersonic reentry vehicles with a 9 megaton warhead, and it's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
eh,
Well,
eh,
I sent you that article about the hypersonic missiles that are
yeah,
beyond the destroyers. So
yeah.
that's a we started talking about this a year ago, and
Hmm.
here all of a sudden, here it is.
Now, do you think that they are going to be debuting it, or do you think these things already fucking exist and they're already out there?
I don't think anything makes popular mechanics that hasn't already been tested. And
Yeah,
yeah,
it
so
just it it. So for what I learned is I did kind of have my own like mental fart thinking like, why are these so destabilizing? Hypersonics is Mach 5 and above,
mhm,
but re-entry vehicles, which we've had since the 50s from ICBMs, going Mach 23. Like,
absolutely.
what's the hubbub? And I didn't realize this is that re-entry vehicles, there's only so much variation between where they're going to hit. They can target, but I mean, basically, if it's once it's on a certain trajectory,
Yep.
I mean, you can predict it, and it's going to land within this area. So it's
Right.
much more like throwing a softball, and where it's going to hit.
Right. The parabolic course is set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's Newtonian physics. But with hypersonics, not only do they not need to go in orbit, so it's much harder to see coming over the horizon, but you can be aiming at one ship and then veer to the right and go hit Shanghai.
Yes.
And it's how do you fight that? And that's the destabilizing nature of them.
Yes.
We know China is developing them. I think they're called Dongfeng.
Yes. But that's a ballistic missile, isn't it? Isn't that a ballistic anti-ship missile?
I thought it was a hypersonic ground based.
Yeah,
I
but I
could have
think it's
sworn it was.
ballistic. In other words,
What does that mean?
well, I think it actually leaves the atmosphere and returns.
Oh, I
That's
don't
why
know.
it has that like 1,000-mile range or something.
Okay.
I'm not sure, Tommy. You would know better than I would.
No, I wouldn't. So that might be okay. So maybe that's not the same danger of a pop up, go vertical, and then just zoom out like okay, like a hypersonic cruise missile. It's not that.
Right, right. That's much more dangerous, I think.
Okay. Yeah, right. Because hypersonics, right? We launched those against. Wasn't that it wasn't in like the 93? Didn't we shoot some of those during Desert Storm? And
Oh,
it's
I think
like,
we did. Yes.
yeah, and like there are reports of people who lived in the land between the ships and where they hit,
Yes.
and they were talking about how like they were out on their porch like, drinking red wine or something, and you could see them streaking at night, just see.
Oh,
But it was, I mean, from horizon to horizon. I mean, because these things could take up to an hour or two. I think I might be wrong, but I think it was like an hour or two flight time. Like these aren't hypersonic. Like those were. So I think the idea comes is to have that sort of close to the ground, but hypersonic. That's the destabilization aspect.
yes. And I just checked the Dong
Okay.
thing. It is a medium range ballistic missile.
So does that means okay?
Yeah, and it's meant for destroying carriers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's their carrier killer. That's so. That's another thing I always think of is like we talk these up as these carrier killers, right? One of these hitting can destroy carrier, which sure is terrifying.
I
But
doubt
again,
it though. I don't think you could sink a carrier with a single missile. I
that's
don't care
just
what, unless it's nuclear.
that's just yeah. Well, that's my point. Is like, well, we've had nuclear I mean, we had nuclear tipped torpedoes. They had nuclear tipped depth charges.
ASRock and Subrock and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
like
Yeah.
we've had this stuff for decades.
Yeah.
You know, I've brought it up several times, but there's this funny like Onion article from 2005, and it's
Mhm.
just like one paragraph long, but it's just some guy, and he goes, "Yeah, you know what?" He goes, "World War III will be fascinating because it will be several hours of just the most fantastic conventional weapon buildup. We'll see all the classified stuff come out before it finally just turns to thermonuclear before the first day is out.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we will have a couple hours of just beautiful, who knows what." And that's kind of what this feels like. Is like, so let's say they shoot a carrier killer at us and we knock it out of the sky, and we shoot a hypersonic at them and they knock it out of the sky. So we use a laser from space to hit something from them, and they use I think it's what Annie Jacobson calls a wicked weapon. They use like a satellite missile to take out I mean, we're gonna play this game for a couple hours before we're finally like, fuck this.
Right. Somebody says it's time.
Somebody's gonna say we're American, and they're gonna just go, turn the keys, and there's just gonna be megatons raining from orbit, which we perfected 70 years ago.
Yeah. I hope that's not what really happens, but once they shoot on a carrier, boy, that's crossing the Rubicon.
That is commitment,
Mm-hmm. It is. That's the end right there. Once they fire on a carrier.
because you
Well,
can't not respond.
no American president is going to turn the other cheek on that.
Truly, no one. As much as I shit on Biden, no, he would. I don't think his generals would let him. I don't think they would confer with him. I
I
don't.
agree. That's it. That's it. The moment that happens, it's
It's
over with.
yeah.
And we've got those George Washington modified submarines that carry the cruise missiles. They're sitting off the coast of China, just waiting to launch, a barrage of tomahawks.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think we absolutely have an orbital based weapon. It would have to be so beyond classified because it just shatters every treaty. And if it became declassified, all future treaties we signed would be voided because no one would trust us.
Right.
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 It's what Annie Jacobson calls a born black program. And it's the Manhattan Project. We were going to announce it because eventually you have to. When you detonate one over Hiroshima, you kind of got to own up and be like, that was us. Oh, what was that? Oh, wow. What is that? That is fantastic. It's like, but there are other programs that, well, you wouldn't know because no one would ever confirm one because they're
Right.
But what Born Black means is it's me and Paul get together, and a classified project would be like, hey, we're going to go do this. But people will understand in 20 years why we had to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
A Born Black program is Paul and I doing something horrific that no one can ever know. We have to be dead before it comes out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this would have to be Born Black. It would have to be developed, tested, put into orbit, and if eventually it came that we didn't need it and a new technology surpassed it, maybe it's a nanobot swarm, you'd even deactivate it and put it away without ever saying, hey, we used to have this.
Yeah, you'd launch it into the sun or something.
Yeah, you would never, you hide that forever, right?
Oh yeah.
So
it's there.
That's what I keep thinking. Is there an orbital based directed energy weapon? I mean, think about it, Paul. International Space Station, 220 miles vertical. It's a big, right? That's a high altitude, right?
Yep.
That's, however, what is that? 220,000 times 5,000. What is that? A million feet? More than that?
Probably.
220 miles times 5,000, about a million, right? Give or take. A million feet altitude. Okay, the SR-71 did 85.
Mm-hmm.
The tag board did 90 to 100. The X-15 did 315.
Yeah.
So right, big altitude, right? We can agree upon that.
You can agree on that.
Thank you for humoring me, Paul. In terms of total distance, though, just distance straight line, 220 miles is not far at all.
Mm-mm.
Between us and China, is that 8,000? That's a big ways away. Our carrier strike groups, that's a long ways away.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are always 220 miles straight up, you can be over the United States and you can go loiter over China. 220 miles that's next door in terms of warfare. that is next door.
Yeah.
Now imagine if it's a laser weapon going at 186,000 miles a second. Well, that's clearly a lot faster than even 220 miles a second. But let's say for whatever fucking reason, it doesn't go at the speed of light. It goes a fraction. It goes 220 miles a second. That's still 1 second. That is near instantaneous striking power.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Why would we not have that?
I share your suspicion that it's really been developed and probably been there a long time.
It's probably been there since Reagan.
Yeah.
It's
Star Wars. Probably.
You're telling me that wasn't brushed off after 9/11?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. We had the laser base, the YAL, right? The laser thing we put on the nose of a 747.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and they're on warships now.
Yeah. You're telling me that's not in fucking orbit?
Right. It's got to be.
The NRO existed for 30 years before anyone even knew the agency existed.
Yeah.
They're up there.
Oh, yeah, they are, buddy.
They're 100% up there.
And the Chinese have probably got them, too.
They've probably got them, too. Mm-hmm. Is that good? Is that a stabilizing effect?
It's hard for me to imagine it's stabilizing when no one knows about it for sure. But
well, we would both probably know about them. Mm-hmm. A small group would know that a small group has them, right?
Yeah, I guess that's right.
They would know. The ones who can use it and who are read in on it both know about it. And
they probably send them an invitation to the testing.
Probably something like that. And they probably did it vice versa. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, we see you.
Yep.
But I mean, in 1947 or 48, the United States actually had public discourse about preemptively nuking the Soviet Union, just killing everyone.
Yeah.
Killing everyone so that they could never develop a nuke. And when any other country got close, we'd nuke them too.
Yeah.
I'm indifferent to the idea. I'm indifferent. I can't say I'm for it. I can't say I'm against it. I don't know. Things could be different. But the CIA didn't think that the Ruskies they thought they weren't going to be able to detonate a fission bomb until 1955. And then they did it in 49. And all of a sudden, it was off the table. Mm-hmm. In the grand scheme of things, that probably saved a lot of lives. The fact that I had a gun at you and then you whipped out a revolver and put it at me. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. Tens of millions of lives were saved by that.
Now, do we have something like a Nitro Zeus? Because that was 2011. It's been a decade.
Yeah.
Maybe we have a Nitro Zeus 2.0. I mean, maybe I think it's the infographic channel, maybe Kurzgesagt. It was one of those like 10 million person YouTube channels, 10 million subscribers. It's all animated. They do great little videos, but the most recent one was like, what would World War III look like? And it's the reason why isn't it kind of curious how like we still can't manage to stop Chinese hacking and stealing of our blueprints?
Yes.
Right? We can keep Manhattan Project quiet with 150,000 employees and 7% of the nation's electrical supply.
Yeah.
Like we know how to keep B-2 Spirit, F-117. And it's kind of odd that those Chinamen, they did it, the rats, you know.
Yes,
it's kind of some Mo, Larry, and Curly, Three Stooges, you know, like whoop, 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 whoop. It's like, doesn't this seem a little fake? Like, well, this guy puts forward this idea of we never stopped it. We did stop it, but what we did was we seamlessly used AI to duplicate those programs
closely
and made it look like they were actively being, so the Chinese would be spying on, let's say right now they were spying on, let's say text message technology was classified. And we found out that they were spying on Paul and I talking, and we're both employees of Boeing.
Yeah.
Or the CIA. What you do is it's an intelligence coup for them that they've got it. Mm-hmm. But if we discover they have it, again, we're through the looking glass. If we discover that they are tapping us, but they don't know that we know, it would be very smart. And if you have AI to simulate, you don't squash it. because now they've gone into hiding again, and they're going to try to steal some other system.
Right.
You got them right where you want them. You got the mouse coming right up to you, and you got the box with the stick over it, right?
Yes.
You would simulate us still texting. You would use AI. There are bots online. You would simulate all sorts of things, us texting each other, asking how you're doing, sharing links and stuff. But you do it with these classified programs. You would just make duplicates.
Exactly.
And then you could lead them down some stray path to where they think they've got a beat on every U.S. program. As soon as war starts, they know how to. But the reality is we have them fighting bogus shit that doesn't exist. It's a 2021 version of the 1944 and 45 use of inflatable tanks that aircraft couldn't tell the difference of.
Yes. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I hope that's what's going on. I hope that all that data, the terabytes they stole on the F-35 were all spoofed.
You gotta think that. I mean, isn't it a little hairy? You know, oh, those Chinese again, they did it. I never knock over this webcam, and I've done it twice this episode. Shows how excited I get with Paul.
We get worked up. That's
yeah,
the way it goes.
But doesn't it seem a little, a little Tom and Jerry-ish?
Well, yeah, but it's on the other hand, it's not the first time that the United States government has seemed a little Tom and Jerry-ish.
Had a fast one pulled on them, right?
Exactly.
But whenever we do have a fast one pulled on us, we always come back with overwhelming force. Sputnik, right? We got embarrassed. I don't know if you knew this, but the Soviet Union actually went through the UN after they launched Sputnik, and they offered space aid to the United States as a sort of insult. Kind of like we would to a third world nation, like, hey, Nigeria, do you need help with like your crops? They offered to the United States. Does the Truman, does the Eisenhower administration, would they like some help getting into space? Because we can help them, which is right. So what do? We put a fucking man on the moon.
Yeah,
big dick, right?
Yeah. Huge.
Yeah, we came back and we put that fucking red, white, and blue sausage on their face, right?
That's what we did.
And we came back so strong. You gotta think they shot down the U-2. Did we walk away? No, Eisenhower said build one higher and faster. So we made the SR-71, which could outrun a Sunset.
Yeah.
We fuck you. We're gonna stop.
Right.
This is America. For better or worse, our arrogance knows no end. So, yes, we've had a fast one pulled on us. They've stolen the F-35 shit. I mean, do you really think this is... But I mean, I'm 30 years old, and I can remember this recurring story for almost half my life. The Chinese have stolen more information.
Yes.
You think for 15... Sputnik happened once. U-2 happened once. And then we came back, and Sputnik, beep, 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 and then we go to the moon. They shot down the U-2, so we create the SR-71 Blackbird.
Right.
I can't help but think that there is something as astronomically advanced than, oh, rats, they did it, I'll get them next time. Like Scooby-Doo, you pull off the mask. They're Chinese all along.
I would have succeeded if it weren't for these pesky kids.
These pesky Chi-Coms, they're running away, and we're like, fuck. Doesn't it seem
we're buying all these F-35s just to fool the Chinese? Like, by God, we'll show them.
Yeah.
Trick them into buying all this stuff.
Doesn't it seem weird? 1.5 trillion sunk into the F-30. Bullshit. 80% of that's probably going into the B-21 or the directed energy weapons in orbit.
Right, the rail guns or the Oh, did you see that article about the destroyer that sank a simulated enemy ship at 250 miles the other day with the use of a drone?
But it's simulated?
It was a virtual ship.
I want real.
So what that means?
I'm not worried about virtual.
No.
I'm not worried about virtual.
That's the use of a targeting drone for 250 miles. That's quite a shot.
It is. It's not nothing.
No, it's not nothing.
But I don't know, man. I just don't. Look, there's one of two options. It means that there's one of three options. It means that the Chinese have surpassed us in every way and they can bully us, in which case they already would have taken Taiwan.
Right.
Okay. Two, it would be that the entire U.S. government is completely saturated with loyalists to the CCP, which I'm not saying is off the table.
Mm-hmm.
However, or 3, Uncle Sam acts in the same way that it has again and again and again. If I slap you 7 times in a row, on the 8th time, are you going to say there's one of 3 possibilities? Tommy's going to not slap me, he's going to kiss me, or he might slap me again. I'm probably going to hit you again.
Yeah.
So just looking at things like the hydrogen, the Soviets detonated an A-bomb. So David Lilienthal went and met with Truman. It was a 7-minute meeting. Truman said, "Can the Soviets do it?" And they said, "Eventually." And Truman said, "Well, go ahead." And they put more money into that than even the Manhattan Project.
Right.
You detonate a nuke, we're going to create a thermonuclear weapon. Fuck you. America, where arrogance knows no bounds. You put a metal basketball in an orbit, fucking, we're going to go hit a golf ball on the moon. It's so these are all the slaps.
Yeah, but is that still our mindset, Tommy? Right now,
Very true. Very true.
We're apologizing for who we are all across the country, all across the world again. American exceptionalism is no longer fashionable.
Now, is that a front?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm tend to, we do have human blood filled shoes. We might just be degrading as a society.
I think we might be facing that. Yes.
Now, if China starts to catch up even more and overtake us, are Elon Musk's starships, are those the new, what were the ships? The Nina, the Santa Marina, the Pinta?
Yes.
Are the new things, are we going to go to a new world to escape what? Oppression.
Where are we going to go to a new world, though? I mean, Mars, they finally generated oxygen.
Okay, what I say is this. Think it's the 1500s or whatever the fuck those ships came over, 1600s, right? When did they come over to Plymouth?
1492. Oh,
no, that was Columbus.
Rock that was 16, right?
Yeah, so whatever, 1600. The UK, for all intents and that was the hub of, that was the bee's knees. That was the best of the best. That was the newest iPhone.
Yep.
The method of getting to the United States on a wooden ship wasn't guaranteed. And once you got there, it wasn't that you were going to land at another city. You were leaving the pinnacle of civilization to the unknown. Best case scenario, it was an undeveloped land with an unknown climate and geography infested with savages.
And bugs.
And disease. Best case scenario. But what did a lot of people do? They got on it, they went over, killed everyone, and then developed the greatest nation in the history of the planet. What is SpaceX? We're leaving the pinnacle of society on a transportation method that is not guaranteed. And once we even get there, best case scenario, we can farm potatoes fertilized by our own shit.
There's just one major difference, and that's oxygen.
Yeah, you're getting into the nitty gritty, Paul. And this is,
that's a bit of a nitpick, I admit.
Yeah, it's you know what? Leave oxygen at it. Yeah, I get it. Oxygen, you need O2 and water. But you're getting lost in the fine print.
You have water there though, so you're halfway there.
Halfway there.
And they did just generate some oxygen. So
is that the fallback plan?
We're gonna let the Chinese have it and head for new frontiers.
It wouldn't be letting the Chinese have it. It would mean that the primary is always to vanquish the Chi-Coms from the planet and set up another century of American exceptionalism. It's not that we let them have it. It would mean that they've taken over, infiltrated our government at every level, and they looked at it as, hey, let's let the Chi-Coms win. They can set up a dictatorship, and then we can truly be power-hungry psychopaths, because right now we're restricted by those pesky constitutions and Bill of Rights. Maybe. And if that's the case, do we hop on some starships?
I'd be first in line. I did see Elon Musk this week said, look at this. Mars is not for the wealthy. Most people who go will die.
Is this not Plymouth Plantation, Plymouth Rock, whatever the fuck it is?
You bet.
When we look back, we have to wonder what possibly drove them to do that.
Freedom, baby.
what possibly drives people from leaving the East Coast to get in a wagon and go to the West? The potential to go get gold, to have what? A better life.
Yeah.
If the Chi-Coms are taken over and the Uyghurs are no longer an exception, but the norm, there's organ harvesting on a mass scale.
Yeah.
There's no one countering them. There's no counterbalance. COVID might be the least of our worries.
You're painting a dark picture, my brother.
No, I'm painting a realistic picture. What would lead people like myself, who always have gone, I'm not getting on a fucking starship, I'm staying here. At a certain point, you come to terms with, regardless if America vanquishes the CCP and we set up the best nation, the best century of America yet, you still die. So death comes no matter what. If it seems like the Chinese are going to take over and it's just going to be a prison planet, why not fucking put on our powdered wigs, grab an old 13-star American flag and be like, part 2, baby. Fucking I'll be there. I'll be drummer boy. You'll be playing the flute. We'll have Dale.
Well, you know what? I think at the very least, there's a pilot for an intriguing TV series.
Very much. And you have an in.
I have an in.
You bastard.
Yeah, absolutely. I think creatively, we're both contributing to this idea.
Paul, I can't wait until that's not a green screen and that is you are a CEO of a massive multimedia conglomerate.
Yeah.
That is your corner office.
That would be sweet.
Paul, what if you snowball into just some TV megastar in the next 5 years?
Oh, I'll remember you. Don't worry. I'll remember the little people.
You'll throw me some peanuts?
I will definitely throw you some peanuts, yes. Because we know everybody's crazy for a talk show that talks about the Chicago Mafia. It's marketing genius.
I mean, it's that or just brain dead dribble or hyperpolarized left versus right news. Right. Probably are. People are probably like, fuck it. There's deep fakes, there's bots. No one knows what's real and what's not. You can issue a fake news and pull out a retraction quietly a week later. I think you might be surprised. I mean, clearly people are turning to this podcast, which says a lot about the state of society. They're tuning into this puppy.
No, it's quite the contrary, because so many options are out there, yet they still are gravitating towards you. That says something about the quality of your stream of thought.
Oh, you making me blush.
Plus, your acoustic tiles are very attractive.
Oh, thank you, sir. I need to put up the American flag again, but I'm kind of tempted not to because I love the tile look.
Tiles are badass.
I know, but I also don't want to look like some I'm ashamed to be I hate when Rogan, when he moved to Spotify, he no longer had the flag behind him.
Right.
And I was always like, dude, fuck that. I have the flag because to me it's a representation of there is free speech and I'm allowed to say whatever I want, even if it's controversial, even if it's incorrect. And I'm allowed to be taught new things by people.
Why don't you put a nice flag sticker right there on your little microphone?
That's kind of pussyfooting.
T-shirt.
Oh. Man, maybe I should just spray paint the tiles.
Well, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think they look badass.
I love them.
Fantastic, futuristic spaceship thing. Oh, man. Look at that. Oh.
Yeah.
You have got a sweet setup there, my man.
Thank you, sir. And we got some lights up there.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Hey, man. Oh, have I showed you my cooling system?
No.
Fuck.
Oh my gosh.
So I have
2001: A Space Odyssey.
I have HVAC tubes running from my ceiling up to a box fan next to my laptop. Hey, $20 for the box fan, $14 for the HVAC tubing, $34 MacBook cooling system. I can overclock it better than 2001: A Space Odyssey. Stare right here, Paul.
Yeah. Okay. No one can say you're not spontaneous, my friend.
My newest hoodie.
Ooh.
was a design I did like a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
but I finally put it on a hoodie. Is ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. Come on. Come on.
Oh, open the bay doors, Hal.
So
I love that.
so what it is it's the ape, just like savage, primitive, going up. So we have DNA, obviously evolution.
Of course.
In between the DNA symbols, it's cuneiform, the earliest written language. I can't remember what I wrote. It was something about evolution of man.
Mhm.
On the sides are actual. These are actual scans of those cave paintings in France from like
Oh yeah, the
20,000 years ago.
Lascaux caves. Yes.
Yeah, so that's not like I didn't make those. That is like real, actual, artistically accurate scans of the cave paintings. And those are the cuneiform characters. I don't remember what I spelled. It was something about and then leading up to the top, HAL 9000, and on the cuffs,
The moon.
the moon.
Man, you got to market this stuff, man.
I do. I got a merch store.
Oh man,
I got a merch store for the podcast, dude. There's a ton of cool shit on there. Shameless plug. I mean, I can plug whatever the fuck I want. It's my podcast.
I bet you can. Look at that. That's a good looking hoodie.
Like on the sides.
I do.
Yeah.
Damn. You look fine.
Oh,
You look
you.
fine. Mighty fine.
Hey, you. Pretty badass hoodie, though, right?
It is a badass hoodie.
Dude, there are some awesome ones. I'll send you the other videos of the new ones I got.
Yeah, link me up.
I will. I have not. I think they're badass. You know, everyone always has merch for their stuff, and they make them with some other website, and it's just like their logo on a breast pocket. These cover 100% of the surface. These are all original designs by me, one man team. I mean, come on now. Come on. Who the fuck else has this shit?
Nobody has that shit.
Nobody. I can actually say best merch in the game.
It clearly is the best merch I've ever seen.
Oh, you.
I love it.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Paul, let's wrap this one up.
It's been a pleasure.
And we need a part 2 with the UFOs and UAPs. Like
How did we not get to that? How did what happened?
We didn't want to blow our load early, so we did the foreplay of China. We did. We touched on that.
You're right. We did, didn't we?
We'll climax. How about next week?
Yeah, next week I can do it.
How about same time? Do you not know that far ahead?
No, I think Thursday at 4 is good. Well, not
Thursday at 4. UFO part 2.
I think so.
I think so too.
All right, my friend.
Paul, I love you, brother. Thank you for coming on here. Friend. Oh, you. Thank you for coming on. It's been too long. And this episode was a reminder to me. I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I had Paul on every other week most of 2020. You're a badass dude, man. I do love having you on. I love spitting with you back and forth. And we do. And you know, if America doesn't win in the end, well, we'll be executed for anti-Chinese rhetoric.
We have sealed our fate.
We have. So that's like John Hancock signing extra large letters.
Right. Yeah.
Fuck you, China! Dongfeng missiles! As we hang, our families are crying as our lifeless bodies are hanging in front of Tiananmen Square.
As long as we can wear your merch.
Instead of the black hoodie, our bodies will be the executioner will put these over our heads.
There we go.
Before that, I'll be like TPC merch.
Oh, my brother.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on, Paul. I'll let you know when it's up. I've got gigabit Ethernet now, so it uploads in like an hour instead of 17 hours.
Amazing.
Big dick energy, man.
Sweet. Huge.
Fucking merch. It's just, can you even? All right. If we keep doing this, we're just going to end up jerking each other off, which I'm not opposed to.
All right, my brother.
All right, Paul. I love you, man. Stay safe. I'll send you when it's up. And next week, 4 p.m. your time, Thursday, right?
See you then, my man.
Fuck yeah, man. Take care, Paul.